Hi friends, welcome to the Code of Power channel. Here we explore martial arts, motivation, psychology, and financial success. Today's topic is incredibly important. 5 powerful psychological techniques that will help you become stronger, not only in combat, but also in life. To understand these techniques in more detail, I've invited psychology and strategic thinking expert Richard Grayson. He'll explain how to put these techniques into practice. I am glad to welcome all the viewers of Code of Power. Today, we're going to look at 5 powerful psychological techniques that will help you control the situation, achieve your goals, and emerge victorious in any negotiations and disputes. Let's get started. Technique number 1. The mirror principle. This method is based on the natural human tendency to trust those who are like us. When you copy the gestures, manner of speech, and communication style of your interlocutor, his subconscious mind perceives you as your own. This helps build rapport faster, creates sympathy, and makes negotiations or dialogue more productive. How to use it? During the conversation, slightly repeat the posture and movements of the interlocutor. For example, if he crossed his arms, after a while, do the same. Adjust the pace of speech. If a person speaks slowly and thoughtfully, do not hurry, and vice versa. Use similar words and intonations. If the interlocutor often uses certain expressions or professional jargon, carefully introduce them into your speech. Example from life. Imagine you are interviewing for an important position. Your interviewer speaks slowly, weighs every word, and uses professional jargon. If you speak at the same pace and use similar terms, he or she will subconsciously feel that you are on the same page. This will increase your chances of getting the job. Another example is negotiating a deal. If a client is emotional about their problem, it's important to show empathy by slightly mirroring their emotions. This will make them feel like you understand them and increase the likelihood of a successful deal. This technique is often used by successful businessmen, diplomats, and even professional negotiators. The main thing is not to overdo it, otherwise the interlocutor may notice the artificiality. Technique number 2. The Barnum effect. This technique is based on the fact that people tend to perceive generalized but vague statements as being personally relevant to them. Many phrases that sound specific actually fit almost everyone. This effect is actively used by astrologers, fortune tellers, motivational speakers, and even marketers. How to apply? Use phrases in which the person easily recognizes themselves. For example, you are a confident person, but sometimes doubt your decisions. This statement fits almost everyone. Add elements of uncertainty to your speech. Sometimes you feel insecure, but deep down, you know you are capable of more. Use positive messages that can inspire the person and make them trust you. Case study. Let's say you're a coach or mentor running a training course and you want to get your audience comfortable with you. You say, "Have you ever had the feeling that you are capable of doing more, but something is holding you back? Do you know the feeling when you know it's time, but you don't know where to start?" Almost everyone has felt something like that at least once, and they automatically start thinking, "Yes, that's me." Another example is negotiation. Let's say you're selling a service, and you say to a potential client, "You're a smart and forward-thinking person, and you've probably already thought about how to increase your income, right?" The person feels that you understand them and becomes more receptive to your offer. This method helps you create a personalized communication effect, gain trust, and influence people's perceptions. Technique number 3. The door in the face. Effect. This psychological technique is based on the principle of contrast and guilt. It consists in the fact that first a person asks for something very big and obviously overestimated, receiving a predictable refusal. Then he makes a second, more reasonable request, which already looks much more acceptable, and the probability of agreement increases significantly. Why it works? When a person refuses someone, he subconsciously feels a sense of guilt, especially if the refusal was categorical. To compensate for this feeling, he becomes more likely to agree to a second, less demanding request. How to apply? First, ask for more favorable terms than you really need. After refusal, offer a compromise, which was your goal in the first place. Sales. First, offer a more expensive product or service. When the customer refuses, show the more affordable option. It won't seem so expensive anymore. Personal life. Ask the person for something more than you really need so that you can then get real consent for your true request. Life examples. Sales and business. You want to sell a service for $500, but you first offer a premium package for $1,000. The customer declines and you say, "Okay, then let's consider the $500 option. It too includes all the basic features. Compared to $1,000, that price doesn't seem so high anymore." Negotiation. You want to ask your boss for 3 extra days of holiday. First you say, "I need 7 days of extra leave." He refuses. Then you say, "Okay, can we at least have 3 days?" After this contrast, 3 days seems like a reasonable compromise, and the boss is more likely to agree. Relationship. You want a friend to help you with your move, but you know he's not very willing. You first say, "Can you help me all day with the move?" He refuses. Then you say, "Okay, then at least help me with the furniture for a couple of hours." After turning down a big request, your friend will feel obligated to help at least a little. This method works in many areas, but it is important not to abuse it so as not to cause a negative attitude. Technique number 4. The 70-30 rule in negotiations. This method is based on one simple but powerful principle. He who speaks less controls the conversation. In successful negotiations, discussions, and even in normal conversations, it is important to listen 70% of the time and speak only 30% of the time. Why it works? People like to talk about themselves. When the person you're talking to gets a chance to talk, they feel comfortable and they start to trust you more. You get important information. The more your opponent talks, the more details you learn about their intentions, motivations, and weaknesses. Creates the illusion of your importance. When you speak less but to the point, people perceive you as a more confident and intelligent interlocutor. How to apply? Negotiation and sales. Start with open-ended questions. What is important to you in this collaboration? Let the client speak and don't interrupt, even if you want to clarify something. Use nudge questions. Tell me more about what makes you uncomfortable. Influence on people. If a person is angry, let him speak to the end without interrupting. In most cases, he will gradually calm down on his own. If you need to convince someone, ask questions that make them come to your conclusion on their own. Personal life. If you only talk 30% of the time in an argument with your partner, he is more likely to start looking for a compromise on his own. On a date, let your partner talk more. He will feel that you are really interested. Examples from life. Business negotiations. You're selling a service and the client asks, "Why should I choose your company?" You reply, "What is important to you when choosing a partner?" Let the client tell you what he needs. After his answer, you can offer exactly what he said was important. Leading and managing a team. A manager holds a meeting and says, "Today, I will tell you how to improve results." Incorrect, because the team is just listening. Better option. What do you think is preventing us from achieving better results? Employees will articulate the problems themselves, and then the solution will look more organic. In an argument or conflict, someone aggressively attacks you, such as saying, "You always do everything wrong." Wrong answer. No, that's not true. You always do it yourself. This will only increase the conflict. Correct answer. Why do you feel that way? What exactly is bothering you? The person will speak up, and you can control the conversation and mitigate the conflict. This technique is simple but incredibly effective. The more you listen, the more you influence. Technique number 5. The Socratic method. This method is based on the fact that people are more willing to agree with the conclusions they have come to than with those that are imposed on them. Instead of arguing and proving your point of view, you simply ask the right questions, which gradually lead your interlocutor to the conclusion you want. Why does it work? The person feels that he or she is making a decision on his or her own, rather than agreeing under pressure. Open conflict is avoided because you are not pushing, but only guiding. A sense of intelligent dialogue is created, which makes you more persuasive. How to apply? Negotiation. Instead of saying, "This contract is favorable to you," ask, "What terms are most important to you? What do you need to consider this contract favorable?" The person will state their criteria, and you can show that your contract meets them. Disputes and conflicts. Instead of proving your point, ask, "What do you think will happen if we do this?" The person will begin to analyze the situation themselves and may come to your conclusion. Leadership and management. Instead of ordering, "We need to do this task," ask, "What do you think will help us achieve a better result?" The employee will feel that he or she is involved in decision-making and will be motivated. Sales and persuasion. Instead of, "This product is the best on the market," ask, "What do you pay attention to when choosing?" Once the customer answers, you can emphasize that your product meets their criteria. Examples from life. Argument with a friend. Friend, "This idea is stupid. It won't work." You, "Why do you think others are trying this method?" The friend will begin to reflect and may change his or her mind. An executive in a meeting, instead of, "We need to increase sales," says, "What steps do you think will help us achieve more?" The team will come up with ideas themselves, and the solution will be better received. Socrates himself, great leaders and politicians have used this method. By asking the right questions, you can change people's thoughts and behavior without coming into conflict. Now you know how to use these psychological techniques in life and negotiations. The main thing is to apply them consciously and at the right moment. I hope this knowledge will help you become stronger and more confident. That's all for now. Thank you for your attention, friends. I'll pass the floor to John. Great job, Richard. Friends, now you have in your arsenal 5 powerful psychological techniques that will help you succeed not only in negotiations, but also in life. What is your favorite technique? Which ones have you already used? Be sure to write in the comments. I'm interested in your opinion. If it was useful and interesting for you, put a like. It helps the channel to develop. And if you want to keep pumping yourself up in martial arts, psychology, and financial success, subscribe to Code of Power because there are a lot of cool topics ahead. By the way, in the next video, we'll discuss top 5 financial tips, how to increase your money. so don't miss it. See you in the next edition of Code of Power.